Hello and welcome to another Richard Head Longbows video. This is just a quick tip on bow making, and I'm talking mainly to you beginners out there here with this one. For those of you who really only just started, perhaps you're making your first bow. One of those little things that I've noticed that people who haven't done much tillering before is that between trips to the tiller you're removing every single mark that you've made on the bow when you've been using the rasp and what have you. Now, this isn't entirely necessary, particularly on the belly section. On the back, yes, you want to keep that nice and smooth. You should have done that right at the beginning anyway before you started doing any tillering on the bow. What you can do on trips in between going to the tiller is remove any marks on the side of the bow, and on this bow it's a triple laminate, so I'm basically removing wood from the purple heart and using a scraper here to smooth out any marks. Now the reason you can get away with doing that in between trips is because you're unlikely to be touching the sides of the bow when you're doing tillering, i.e. when you're finding stiff spots within the bow, you're going to be really removing wood from the belly section as opposed to the sides. Now every bit of wood you remove from the bow and then put on the tiller, of course, is going to make a difference to the shape of the bow. What you don't want to do is find when you get to the end of tillering, when you're nearly happy with the bow, you then suddenly think, oh well, I've better get rid of all these marks that are down the sides of the bow. You remove them, you put the bow back on the tiller, and you suddenly find it's out of tiller again and it's altered. So any work that you can do on areas on the side as far as getting rid of tool marks go from the beginning, from the outset of tillering, was going to help you later on in the stages. Apart from that, as I say, if you're making marks on the belly section of the bow, don't worry about removing them in between trips to the tiller quite so much. You obviously can do, particularly towards the end of the tillering process. As I mentioned, you're going to alter the shape of the bow by any amount of wood that you remove. But to save you time while you're starting, to save you time at the beginning of that tillering process, don't feel that you have to remove every mark from the bow. Honestly, it'll save you a lot of time.